the hero. The bonds can deal with the illusions, and you have the rock to stop him from disrupting his teammate in the team fights.
So OG is known for going for defensive supports. Not always two. We saw Jarex obviously yesterday on the Slaughter, but normally they go for two fairly defensive supports.
That's mainly fly on the defense.
Oh, we actually overlooked that. That's right. OG always first picks the Naga for no tail.
Ooh.
So that does get through.
Yeah.
So now
Normally
Shadow Demon, Mirana. Okay.
Yeah, that was really quick. They might have already anticipated that Naga.
But this goes back to yesterday. Evil Geniuses knew exactly what VP was going to do.
Do you guys know by any chance if there's a support? Okay, maybe not with the Kotal. There's no way. Very unlikely that the Naga is going to be support anymore.
OG, I think, almost always exclusively runs it on no tail. Yeah.
So it's not a flexible pick for them.
Okay.
You can keep it in the back of your mind, but generally it is. Yeah, it is no tail.
But the speed by which EG did respond in that draft does get, it does basically make the question. They knew that was coming. They almost.
We might see like some anti-mage here from EG.
Morphling or anti-mage.
Yeah, anti-mage or Morphling. Those two carries are very good against Naga. And RTZ likes to play both of the heroes.
They could still go for a Luna. I don't see
but
the
Luna like a timing push, If you pick Luna, it means that you want to deal damage to the base at a certain amount of time, like around minute 30. You want to break at least one side of Rex.
Shadow Demon does enable you to open it up a little bit more.
I think if they go Luna, they probably have to go something like a DK mid, like to force the push. Like if you go for like Morphing. Much easier to
I think those are the more two ones. I think we'll probably see OG ban one of the two, if not both of them, in the third, fourth, because we saw them do that at the summit. It was like G showed their card one of the games, and then I think multiple games versus like Wings versus OG. Everybody was just banning the anti-mage morphling in the third, fourth versus them.
Yeah. So we see the Juggernaut ban from EG. So that gives away very important information to OG. It means that EG are not going to try to push because Juggernaut is very good against the Kotal. If you ever want to push against Kotal, you want to have the healing ward. And OG seeing that ban, they take out the AM because if not trying to push, you're going to try to play late game. So it's very obvious both of the teams are starting to understand what you're trying to do.
And with them taking a little bit longer to decide about their bans, they're trying to maybe adjust mid-draft to what they already planned from the get-go.
They're thinking about replacements right now because when they see OG take out the AM, they're immediately probably thinking, oh, there's still a Morphling, but they might still ban the Morphling.
Yep.
So what do we go? What if Morphling is also banned out?
Ban out the LC, obviously the illusion clear, and it's actually been doing pretty decent, even though it's been painting like picked first two, which I don't think any of us could have predicted in a couple extra series. It's had a quite high win rate here, like 70% or something on the main stage.
Teams have been rating the hero very highly though.
So if the Morph indeed is the last ban here, we still have the Luna and the Drow Ranger for Evil Geniuses.
Not a huge fan of the Drow Ranger versus Naga Siren. You're on too much of like a window.
But you do have to push though. If you don't have good late game against Naga, you're not gonna want to go to late game. So you have to push even if you don't. Luna, maybe a TB, like something like that to push down.
Terrorblade. We've seen a few Terrorblades. Only last pick.
Great response to Alchemist in that kind of essence because you hit your timing faster.
They are using a lot of that reserve time.
Yeah, it's like a very big decision here. Do you want to ban the Morphling, or are you ready to deal with the Morphling and you rather not?
So that's what's happening now, is they're saying, what can we do if they go
Yeah, they're thinking about what the enemy can do to win the game. It's either they go late, or we want to ban an early game hero so they can't pressure us too much.
Yeah, and they get rid of it.
Radiant team's turn to pick.
The most annoying one.
We've seen some really big Morphlings, haven't we, here on the main stage?
Yeah, from Adkin
them especially with Madara.
EG could go for something like a Clockwork if they like it. It's obviously very good versus the Coddle. You can find the Naga Siren as well with your buckets, able to isolate him in a kind of way.
You can't cast your ultimate if you get caught in the Cogs plus battery.
Yeah, you can't cast your ult. It stops you. Obviously, with the battery assault, you can't really cast anything.
So far, Universe is not countered at all, at least not that much by OG. He can pick still Darkseer, Clockwork, still in Sand King, it's still in the pool as well. In terms of offlaners, it's wide open.
It still is very open.
Isn't Clockwork one of Universe's like most popular picks as well?
Yeah,
it's like
they have
second
Clockwork
favorite.
plus Mirana, so there's a lot of synergy with the current heroes. I like that pick a lot here for EG, and it allows your other two cores to take a lot from the map, because you don't take much resource as a Clockwork.
Yeah, and you can really mess with the supports as well. You keep supports in the lane because Naga Siren, if they do put a short lane, which we're assuming OG will, since it's going to be No-Tail playing it, you have to help him versus a Clockwork because if he's just left alone, Clockwork can get way too much. So We'll see what they want to go for, because it's either they go for that or they go for some heavy team fight, some like
It's the
Darkseer or
Nexus
Dire
Spirit.
team's turn to
Okay.
pick.
Go next.
Still pretty
That
good.
also leaves Lifesticker is still in if you want to have him as a vessel for some early aggression. If you want to try and find the real Naga Siren,
Yeah.
that's a good
The
good way to
Carapace
do
is
it.
very good against the Naga and the Kodo.
And
10
that would be a
seconds
universe
remaining.
hero.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, as you guys,
5
when they run
seconds
Naga, they
remaining.
mostly just run him like in the safe lane, right? They don't run him mid.
Normally, yeah.
Normally, yes.
Normally.
Reserve
Yeah,
time.
the lanes will be easy to guess for EG right now because Naga is usually a hero that's quite flexible in the lane. You can go safe lane, you can go mid. But if you are only doing him in the safe lane, then the enemy team has an easier time
We can
to
build around that.
to build around that, to plan against. That might be an
Interesting.
issue.
One of the more popular picks and more successful picks of the Boston Major has been Mirana.
Yeah.
65% win rate.
Rubik as well, pretty high pick rate. Could be picked by OG, Rubik Kotal. They really like the dual hero combination with the Naga.
Yeah.
They go for the clockwork themselves.
Radiant
We're a bit of a
team's turn to
deny pick
pick.
there as well. At 4 is really a really strong Clockwork player. And we are going to assume it is S4, right? There's not really a chance. OG doesn't really pick it as a support.
Never seen it before, but they
Did pick the starter
they did the
yesterday.
starter,
They did the
so,
starter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
They-
like, Ad Finum did it yesterday. I don't think
Yes.
MNT's played Clockwork support almost ever, and they picked it for him. So it's definitely left, at
5
least maybe a
seconds
little open, but
remaining.
more than likely
I
S4
mean,
clock.
if
And
you think about the hero, he's like a support, right? In
Yeah.
the off lane, he doesn't take so
Reserve
much and
time.
he runs
Yeah.
around.
yeah, it's a cool, clever dual lane too. Like the Clockwork Coddle, we used to see people run it like a long time ago just to pressure a lot. They do want to go for something along those lines, and Clockwork fits really well with the Naga because you don't really take too much farm.
Dire
So they do go
team's
for the
turn to
Luna,
pick.
as we kind of expected, but
Does that put a timer on their draft at all?
Definitely, they're gonna need to step up the pace of the game. Well, the other thing is what is their mid hero gonna be? Maybe they go for like a heavier fuck hero, then it sort of like
10 seconds remaining.
puts your team under less stress because if you have two dual core against a single core Naga,
5
then you
seconds
might
remaining.
have a much better time going into the late.
you don't think there's a chance it's Mirana mid still?
Oh yeah,
Sumail play Mirana.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about Shadow Demon Mirana supports. We
Yeah.
see so many support Miranas.
10
It's the day
seconds
before.
remaining.
I think there's still a chance. At least this just standing in my mind because of yesterday, though. But how do you feel about EG going for like a Chen? I mean, they are versus a Coddle, which kind of
Radiant
deters you
team's
from
turn
going
to
for like
ban.
that full-out push thing. But EG took it late with the Chen yesterday, and it's a great, Shadow Demon combo.
I Chen. Because basically the main idea for them right now is to pressure and use the Luna to take down towers. They need a mech carrier. They need a way to push with a
10
support.
seconds remaining.
How about Leshrac? I don't know.
I was actually,
Five
I was
seconds.
literally about to
If
say
he likes
Leshrac too.
Leshrac, yeah.
Yeah, I mean Leshrac will allow them to push. That would be also a pretty good option, but he's not a
Reserve
mech
time.
carrier. That's the
Yeah.
downside.
He does
He
pair
can
up
go.
nicely with the Shadow Demon.
I mean, yeah, I guess he can
We've
buy
seen
the mech.
EG play it before.
Yes.
And it's a lot of, it gives you a luge clear on a support, and they already have the Shadow Demon who can make
So-
copies of the Naga Siren too.
So far, we've seen pushing supports
Dire
Shaman,
team's turn to
Leshrac,
ban.
Chen. But if they do want to go for the support Mirana and go for a mid core that can push, that's only DK, right? There's not many other heroes that can. Push
Yeah.
Is there another
like-
hero left that would offer also a little bit more in terms of illusion clear from the Naga
10
Siren?
seconds remaining.
Mirana carry.
Mirana carry. I think
Yeah.
it's like Lesh, Chen, DK, or Invoker.
5 seconds
Probably like the
remaining.
more likely picks for EG right now.
Yeah, Invoker does give the Knicks much more threat in the map with the
Dire
Sunstrike, the
team's
turn
to
Vendetta
pick.
for Sunstrike gang.
Exactly.
Yeah, Lion is also one of the heroes, one of the supports. If they still go for that, actually OG thinks they are going for core still.
Yeah, they go for the DK themselves.
themselves.
Radiant
There it
team's
is.
turn to pick.
The heroes to make space for the Naga to take the map. The four heroes.
Someone to pressure towers with your
It
teammates.
could be also a deny pick. They're worried about the Luna DK push coming in.
Mhm.
So overall, OG has a very straightforward, solid Naga draft.
10 seconds remaining.
And EG, do they go for more late game? Do they go for the push?
5 seconds remaining.
This is the last pick for them.
They're lucky. It's good that they get to at least, even though the DK may have been a deny pick, they get to see the mid laner
Reserve
first. So now it's like,
time.
Sumail, do you want to play Mirano versus DK mid? Do we want to pick Chen? What approach do we really want to go for
And
this?
they
It's-
still
it's
have
really in their
bonus time
eyes.
left as well, so
Yeah.
plenty of time to think
Burn
about
it down.
Mhm.
It's interesting that EG have Luna and Shadow Demon, two of the most successful picks. In fact, both of those are the two picks that are above 60% win rate in the Boston Major, the only
Yeah.
two.
that. OG thinking they can beat it. Can they outlast them?
They have
The
the
Naga
Naga though,
Siren,
they
yeah.
definitely can. Naga and keep off are like very
10
good late game.
seconds remaining.
Do they have enough illusion clear? Is the keeper flight enough of an illusion clear? Oh, there's the
They go
Leshrac.
for the Lash.
They go
yeah.
Lash.
All right.
So support Lash and mid Mirana.
Yeah. Very scary, the Shadow Demon Last Strike roaming potential. And it gives them some more, I guess you could say, late game potential if the Last Strike is able to like transition to a core too. They do have the potential to maybe take it versus a Naga.
Yeah,
That
the
essence.
Last Strike is really good against the illusions.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of an edge to EG.
Oof, okay, giving EG the edge in our first draft of our first semi-final. It's time. All right, you've been waiting for the Dota. We've waited long enough. And so I introduce your casting pair for the first game of our first semi-final for the Boston Major. It's the dudes from Down Under. It's Gods and Toby 1.
That's right. While we can't have a competitive Australian in the finals, maybe we can actually have a couple of casters.
We could have, Toby, come on.
Almost.
We've got one left.
Close, maybe. That's if OG
5
can
seconds
win. This
remaining.
crowd seems to be backing EG a little bit, but anything is possible. OG as well as EG. We've got a winner through them all who can actually take this game and push themselves into the best of 5 grand final for the Boston Major.
It's crazy to think there is 3 teams with former OG members in the semifinals between DC, OG, and EG. There's a very high chance we're going to have a 3-time major winner between the current OG players as well as Crit on EG as well as Moon Meander on DC. But we'll have to see. Maybe Adfenim will have a thing or two to say about it. Right now, EG going with a very aggressive smoke maneuver into the enemy jungle through the mid lane.
Yeah, they're not going to find anyone though.
Much,
OG is preparing themselves for the bot rune, but this will allow EG to establish some aggressive ward control if they want to. Not the biggest game for this to happen, as OG aren't really running a jungler, Clockwork, a hero who stays in the off lane, doesn't want to back out and say, hey, I'm going to do what we saw Axe do yesterday,
30
where it's like
seconds to
just
battle.
abandon the off lane completely, get some heavy farm.
I haven't seen where they want to put their second observer ward yet. Now they'll plant it just to help protect the off lane from some of those rotations. And I mean, for EG, you're pretty happy with that movement, even though you got nothing out of it because you get 2 really nice, difficult to plant wards typically. But OG similarly have got that cliff ward, so they're going to see a whole lot as EG look to go for an aggressive tri-lane it seems. They've already got Naga rotating bottom, so they've seen enough that they see the aggro tri-lane and Naga is not having any of it.
Yeah, and EG don't want anything to do with it either. Universe is headed down to the south, so okay. Everyone with the lane switch up. Thanks to that Dire Observer Ward sitting up next to the tower. You still haven't had EG. Okay, now Zai's going to come in range. They see Crit as well. So OG are very well aware of what's going on, pinging out the fact that Zai is already making a break for that side shot. So they've got to be careful about this. But with S4 with the cog block, he's going to hold him back. And it's a nice lane. Fly and S4 together, this Keeper of the Light plus Clockwork, very difficult to engage on, and you might take a lot of harassment to do so.
That's the thing. Having Coddle against the tri-lane is really nice because you can hit 3 heroes with Illuminate, so you can't get too aggressive on S4 because you'll just take a lot of harass. And Rubik is enough to help support No-Tail down bottom. He can help just put enough pressure onto the Universe X Assassin that No-Tail should get relative free farm down here.
This is also a beautiful lane. No-Tail, when he plays his Naga, he's done it before, and I was waiting for it to happen in the draft where we saw like the OG Pudge come in combination. They've done it with combination with the Clockwork. And No-Tail, when he would run it in that scenario, was always this great zone for exactly the same item build he's gone here, and he just moves in, tires out the hero, and just that zones out the off laner. Now, in this case, he's got a Rubik behind him, so he's already able to zone out the off laner, give Jirax a little bit more space, but pull over the Jirax has done. This is just giving all the free farm on the bottom lane to No-Tail.
Yeah, it's a nice play to try and deny farm and XP from Universe. Get the split XP with the neutrals when he comes in, but No-Tail able to farm pretty well under his tower. Already picked up the Quelling Blade. Mid lane, it's the 1v1, the Sumail versus Honor matchup. Sumail with the CS advantage has gone for the first item, Bassi, which makes it kind of tough for the DK to last hit. DK, no Quelling Blade, is going to go for the Bottle Rush. So he's just going to be relying on the Breathe Fire as far as this lane goes.
Yeah, first little rotation of Zai offering around the mid lane. It wasn't fully scouted out until now as Fly came down for the Spirit Rune. Zai it's just going to harass the Keeper of the Light away. But this gives a warning to the DK.
Oh, Mitsumail could be in trouble. An Invis rune from Jerax. This has not been scouted. They do know it was the actual rune down bottom, so she's probably being told, like, watch out for the haste, the Invis, some kind of high impact
Courier
rune.
snipe. Zai, is he going to get there in time? The Courier turns for a split second. It's got the bottle on it. Zai able to take it. Jirax coming behind it, and then on the bottom lane as well. Top lane Clockwork is the first blood. And EG will claim not only a Courier snipe, but you also lose the Clockwork.
What a start for EG. always you feel like as a DK mid and you go for that bottle rush, you have to bottle crow. Like you're against range here, you're being constantly harassed. Your way to CS is through the breathe fire spam. So you're like, all right, I've got a bottle crow. That's what DK does in mid lane. But losing your bottle because of how reliant you are about it can absolutely cripple you. And now this is going to be a pretty big period of time where Honor does not have the bottle at mid.
And they are going to, one, censor what was just put on the screen. Sumail's got to be careful right now. His breeze fires on up with a fake bolt, just had level 4. So the leap away of low life. Zai turns, going to get the stun into Ana, combining it with the arrow. That's a big stun. Sumail is level 2 starfall. It should be enough damage, or will it? Ana, back to the tower. They missed up there as well. And Sumail, now Jirac picks him up. Fake bolt to Bubble is only level 1. The damage is enough with the bounce out. Jirac playing it perfectly, and EG, well, the luck was there to get some early floods, but they just kept missing.
I want to say they had both heroes miss uphill there. That's what it looked like, at least. Perhaps there was the damage block from the high arm and the stout shield of one of them, but that was some very fortunate stuff for Honor, not going down there and turning it around with Rubik picking up the kill.
He needed something like that. Like, the courier's going to be back up in 1 minute, so he'll have his bottle back at that point. But just giving him, like, room to breathe.
Absolutely, and for OG, you're kind of happy with all this like chaotic stuff happening in mid and top lane if the No-Tail Naga is being ignored, and that's been the case so far, and that is about to change.
Yeah, the smoke maneuver is SD as well as Lashrak coming in. No-Tail's got mana. Like, his PMS will not protect him from this. Jirac, he's got enough mana for at least one telekinesis or Fade Bolt, and he's going to have to make the choice. There's already Disruption, Catcher, Universe. Oh, he misses the stun! He didn't hit No-Tail at the right time, and the split hook misses! EG, a couple of things go wrong, and OG, get out jail free card.
Thanks. That's first game of the day, still waking up. That was one of the snippets I heard from them going into play first match of the day yesterday. They're like, man, we play at like 60% when we're playing. They said like everyone plays at 60% of full potential in that first game of the day.
Well, we better make sure this whole series goes to 3.
Yeah, that's the thing. These games are just going to get better game by game as the teams fully wake up. But you can't be making the kind of mistakes sometimes. It could be very costly if No-Tail stays alive. Doesn't even take damage. So it's not even like they send him back to base. He's still sitting down here to farm with his illusions, potentially even his hero once he feels it's safe that the supports are gone. This is an off-lane farming Naga Siren.
This is very problematic when you're able to get that early level 6 EG's initiation and that aggressive maneuver you're looking for with the SD and Lashrak. It may just not come to fruition. Mid lane, Jirac, there's your pick up over Mirana, dragging it back with the Dragon Tail stun. The leap, he doesn't even get up the hill. Jirac's able to Fade Bolt him down. OG knows Jirac, you gotta respect his rotations.
That's Jirac in a nutshell. He is the best ganking 4-position support out there, hands down. He makes these plays happen. He does on heroes that you can kind of roam and gank on Rubik, but you don't expect to be able to gank mid Mirana. This is not like a 2-hero combo that you normally expect to that kill. But the DK Rubik bring her down for a second time now, and Sumail is going to be perhaps getting a bit tilted almost after the 2 ganks coming his way, especially with those uphill misses earlier. This early game, to me, favoring OG a bit. Nyx is top of the CS. The CS-wise, it's not amazing for OG. It's just the fact they're getting away with the Naga farm in the off lane. The DK mid, his lane's been salvaged despite the bottle snipe. And if anything, that courier snipe is what's given EG what they need out of this earlier game.
Should flag too the fact like Arteezy bailed off that top lane. There was a small moment where S4 almost came in range to lock him inside Cogs with a level 3 battery assault. And I think R2 probably realized he's completely alone on that top just because they rotated down the SD as well as Lesh earlier on. So Illuminate going to go to work. Universe by Carapace returns as the Keeper of the Light. But this is the same combination we saw from OG yesterday. Having both the high level up in Fate Bolt as well as Illuminate, the creep waves don't stand a chance. They get melted so quickly, and without that Chen pickup that the panel as well as yourself was looking for, EG don't have that early sustained push.
They've got Universe up to 6, so perhaps the plan is going to try and snipe some of those annoying backline supports, the Coddle, the Rubik. If you can get a pick using the Vendetta, Jirac, he's seen them though with the Dire Ward. He has pretty good intel as far as what's going on here. There's even the Sentry Ward down between the towers and the TPM from Clock. They're possibly looking for that kill on Universe.
There's a level 6 up on S4.
They're hoping that he would just Vendetta in. and try and counter-initiate using the Clockwork Hook, and Universe
The
still may
Observer
go
Ward.
for that play.
It's Storm coming back up. S4 potentially could have blind hooked that
he's
small little
taunting.
path. Now the Sentry's there. Jirax, well, it starts off with a disruption on Universe. In fact, not on Jirax.
That's the 60%. Everyone missing their spells. He disrupted Universe. He was trying to aggressively disrupt. Universe was also probably going for the Vendetta initiation. Then you missed the hook shot of the SD illusions. Everything missing, Toby. This is not the crisp play you'd normally expect from these teams, but it's such a high pressure game, so tense here. These teams probably thinking this is almost in some way a final.
Nice stun in the middle. This stun's going to connect Sumail as well. The Starfall's there. One charge just can't get off in time. Jirax started his TP, but also TP to the backside of the tower, so couldn't instantly get that telekinesis off. But you are right. There's a couple of things going a little bit wrong, but there's so much pressure. Like G, everyone expected to perform really well at TI. Didn't really go that way for them. Now they are known as the major champions 2 times over. So there's a lot of pressure on them to perform well in EG. The story of this whole Boston Major is them getting better and better as time goes on.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we see these teams go for kind of safe strats in that game 1, just trying to test the waters. I mean, for OG, it's one of those things where you can mis-execute a gank like that, or they were trying to beat the Knicks into the center, and yeah, they mess it up and should have gotten that kill, but they've still got their overall strategy and game plan working. The Naga is farming, has the arcane boots, has the max out mirror images, can farm the jungle, can farm the lanes. There hasn't been any real pressure onto Notel, nor does it look like there'll be pressure directly on him. More likely you see pressure towards towers. EG want to take objectives, use smokes, use the Knicks to go rotate around and find kills. They're much more concerned about gaining control of the map rather than taking Notel 5-10 times.
Well, speaking of those smokes, we do have this maneuver from EG through the dire jungle. Notel knows he's actually already backing up. This is around that time when you expect the side to look to that dire safe lane tower to bring it down. So Notel's positioning is already perfect just to delay the lane out.
Yep, and he's farming. He's got his illusions in the jungle, so he just sends those out. He's not getting absolutely nothing while he's tucked away here, but he will poke his nose out soon, which could get scouted by the Radiant Observer Ward.
It's a very interesting time to actually bring a Lunar on a rotation. Normally, like, we've seen a lot of Lunars throughout this series, throughout this competition, and especially with G. Oh, they just Sentry Ward, Universe, he's visible, the Dragon Form is in the range stun, now hookshot forward, S4's gonna hold him there with Hogs, Arrows coming in, Universe gets stun off, but it's already too late. Clockwork will take the kill with the battery assault. And EG wastes a lot of time with 3 big heroes to gain nothing and in fact lose.
That's the big thing you mentioned, like with Luna not farming and going with the team for those smoke rotations, you really are looking to use the Eclipse. Find the level 4 Lucid Beam Eclipse to kill off a core hero, be it the Naga, the Dragon Knight, or even kill multiple heroes and transition into tower off of that. But EG getting jumped on because there's the Sentry Ward there means they're not getting a kill, they're not getting a tower to follow it up. And it is wasted time. It's time where Arteezy could have been farming. That's a bit of a concern for him. He is, well, not too far behind the Naga Siren, but it's going to get worse when the Naga has Radiance. What is good for EG is how fast Sumail is. Sumail's, despite the 2 deaths, well on top of the net worth chart.
Not much good's happening to
As long as he can get to that Aghanim, set the timing. It's the downside about having the Naga. She's got to hold on to a decent amount of money now. But this will be a nice injection. The T1 tower will fall. It's level 3 eat. Naga illusions don't really do a lot. And Notel's not looking to fight anyway. He's going for a 4-0-4. But if you're thinking of even engaging early on, you want to have 1 point up in Song of the Siren. Fly and Jirax can keep the creep wave at bay, but that's an easy tier 1 tower for EG.
Yeah, but now this game's kind of at a tempo that's EG set, but it's still like feeling all right for OG. Perhaps they're not too pleased with the overall outcome of the mid lane with Honor kind of going down the one time, losing his bottle. He's not farming all too well, but DK's not a hero you need to be doing big things on. We start with LFY with Super, when he played these Dragon Knight games. As long as you get your basic core items, you get your Trez, your one, you get a BKB later, you get a Shadow, some kind of initiation item, the Shadow Blade or the Blink, you're going to be okay to do your role as a Dragon Knight. You can set up a fight, you can go in, and then the Clockwork follows you up. So just having one of those 2 tools and having enough farm as a DK is all you really need.
Well, Universe, expect him to be rotating around with that Vendetta not happening. Crit is actually looking up, calling out the stacks. It's not going to be too long before OG want to look to farm this, but for now, OG defense of their T1 tower on bottom lane. They're going to trigger off the fortification. And then a Moonlight Shadow. Who are they looking for? It's actually to get on the top lane. Arteezy out there. But S4 hit the blind hook shot. He had a small bit of time to sit him. But the Illuminate, the Sentry Ward, it does the work. And the Luna will fall.
Yeah, that's a great kickoff for OG when you're killing one of the key heroes of EG. They get the T's down, they take a bit of damage from this bottom tier 1, but even that's being well defended and looking for an initiation on Zai.
If they can find him in the tree lines, Anna's going to make his way down. Jirax having that pulse node will give the extra damage, but now, well, they have Anna stuck in the tree line. Dire Creepways moving in, Universe under the cover of Vendetta, also in the neighborhood, but they drop a entry ward, they see him straight away! OG! I don't know if they realize that Universe, despite Karabas, might buy himself a little bit of space, but not enough to survive. S4's Cogs will keep the Mal out this fight as well. And OG's Sentry Wards have been right on the money.
They've been game winning. It's ridiculous how they've caught the Nyx Assassin. It's not like they're buying, they're over investing in sentries and they're all across the map. They're just in the right place at the right time, catching Universe above that bottom rune earlier, catching him now at the bottom lane. They should have caught him between the T1 and T2 tower. They've read Universe's rotations perfectly this game. That is some impressive support between Fly and Jerax, making those calls, and S4 hitting some really nice hooks onto that Nyx Assassin on a couple different occasions.
You still have the tower advantage going the way of EG. We expect this kind of stuff when you're running, maybe not the Lunar as much, but at least when you're running the track for the early pressure. Drags out a long way, S4, the Observer, he saw SD just moving in, and Crit, well, he is most definitely dead up on that top lane.
Nice little op spot because it's out of sentry range from that Cliff Ward, which is so common and popular. Does give OG another kill going their way. This game is really feeling great. OG favored right now just based on the continuous kills we're seeing out of S4's Clockwork. Farm-wise, it's not disaster for EG. It's even on net worth, but it's still an underfarmed Luna. This is not EG hitting their stride. They were hoping to be able to take towers, take objectives, use this level 4 Edict of Leshrac. They picked this hero to have a pushing lineup, and while Leshrac has been in the right place to kind of go for some towers from time to time, it never really has come together where EG is a 5-man unit, have everything they need.
Well, they keep losing their cores before the Leshrac can push. Like, Universe goes down, you're losing so much control through his stuns, through even just the fear of a Nyx Assassin running on the map. You're meant to, like, OG is meant to be fearing the rotations of the Nyx Assassin, but because they keep seeing it, because these supports have picked up so much money, they got so much money to spend on these utility items like Sentry Wards, that they're just checking every time where Universe is moving. And underneath the Obs and the Sentry on bottom, it's actually more trouble for Artur. S4! A big wide hook, a secondary Sentry will be dropped. Arteezy with that Purge creep. Actually slowing down Jirax for the moment. It's got another charge with elusive beams. Jirax in trouble. There goes your first disruption now from Crit. Jirax gets stunned up, hit by the Vendetta, copping a fair chunk of damage and will die.
Yeah, OG just looked to cut their losses there. And it was like, look, we've got this relic coming. Let's not lose a big team fight here. We can take a one-man casualty in the Rubik, but we don't have to lose too much more. If anything, probably concerned about tower push coming now with EG all grouped up towards this bottom lane. Got 4 heroes down. They don't have Dumel on the Mirana, who's very close to an Aghanim Scepter. He's the player they're kind of looking to kind of transition into that mid to late game as the big carry here with Arteezy struggling and be able to fight those Naga illusions.
Yeah, the Naga illusions is where my mind's going for the Dubs fall. If Samel can clear this out, then No-Tail's damage in the fight is obviously going to be drastically less. Yep. But then you look towards the DK. Anna, he's finally getting closer towards that armlet. He's behind the Luna in net worth, so it hasn't been the greatest DK game after his bottle got sniped. But the game of catch-up is always going to be better for OG, just because you're running a Naga and Keeper of the Light. Your globe control is so good that it's more like EG is on the clock to try and win this.
Oh, absolutely. The longer this goes, as much as Mirana can clear out waves and pseudo deal with Naga illusion, it's still Naga still is going to come out on top there over time. The illusions will split across 3 lanes. Mirana cannot be in all 3 lanes at once. Naga illusions will just get here over time once you get more and more items. The Octarine with the Manta with a potential hard harass. That's where the illusions have too much HP to even burst down. For OG, you want to make sure you have farm sweat. The Dragon Knight of Honor has an Ancient stack which he can farm a bit later on once he hits level 11. So for OG, I think I look towards them getting more farm and Honor because everything's going fine for the Naga. They want to make sure they have diversity with their damage output and with other heroes able to contribute. EG are playing for the long game. They picked up the Midas on Universe's Nyx Assassin. They've got the Helmet of Dominator Arteezy. He's farming Ancient Stacks himself. Sumail's got the Aghanim Scepter. He's looking for the late game, of course. So, no, there's an Naga on OG. The late game is kind of what EG have kind of recognized as where they're heading in.
Universe, how do you stay alive? Sit underneath your own sentry ward. That way you know they don't have vision of you.
There's a Radiance up, but they decide, let's not fight this Radiance song.
Yeah, she triggers his drag form with the extra sentry planted and the Obs ward. That sentry is just out of range of the Radiant sentry. Arrow will fly between the middle of OG. The Observer ward will be taken out. Oh, the spike camera's the hot shot! S4's in! Disruption came from Crit! But it didn't do it in time. S4 does get stunned up, but N0tail resets up the fight with the Song of the Siren. Zai's just out of range of it, and that allows Ana to pick up without turning off the Song of the Siren. Now Sumail into the tree, picked up by Jirak, thrown back into the middle of the OG sandwich, and 4 heroes down for EG. A tier 1 tower to boot, and OG, they look in great control of this game at the moment.
Yep. First thing N0tail does with his Radiance is tell his team, let's go fight, let's go together, let's contest those Ancients and take a team fight. They get initial pick-off. S4's clockwork has been impressive, to say the least. He has found initiation after initiation, and that sleep micro from N0tail, he slept everyone, but then moved his hero a bit further away so that the DK could finish off the Leshrac. So really nice positioning from him. Everything being played out just perfectly by OG in that team fight, and they get themselves the tower. They get a huge chunk of gold going away. N0tail pulls well ahead in overall farm. And Dragon Knight even looking a lot more competitive with the Luna and Mirana having stayed alive throughout that one as well.
EG's grouping up, 5-man smoke. They able to move from the tier 2 tower. They were out of range of any of OG's vision, but as this slip into Roshan, will OG know about this? Or are they coming for the kills? The Radiant, they scan, they understand that OG is near the Ancients. What? Well, he might be the sacrificial lamb for OG, a 5-man smoke mover. If they take the Ancients as well, it's worth it for EG.
Yeah, they feel confident knowing that.
Wait. That's a Vendetta Rubik with a Blink Dagger. Jirax is sitting next to the Ancient, the fresh Blink Dagger.
There's no sentries. There's no sentries to scan him out.
Well, where's your money anyway? You can't have sentries if you got no money on your support. The stack is still not taken. Anna's coming in with his form available. Jirax gets hit. Now the Blink picking up Arteezy, drags him back. The Ensnare will hold Artur in the middle of the river. That's a little bit too far to go, and OG will say thank you. You did a little bit of work for us. They'll finish up the Ancient stack.
Yeah, they'll get zoned by the Radiant Illusions. All it's going to take is like a bit of Radiance damage and a Riptide to get everyone on EG down to half HP, and yep, that'll get OG the Ancients. It was a Keeper of the Light going down, but that was an EG maneuver that was looking for a bigger kill, that was looking to actually take the Ancients. They didn't find the Naga okay, they didn't get to steal the Ancients.
Oh, and all the wards that EG just put down will be lost. N0tail, they found with the Observer wards that EG placed with the smoke maneuver. So now EG, they're pretty much blind to the map. S4 gets a hook shot down the bottom, actually soloing Arteezy's Luna.
Dang, that is not a good sign when your Luna's getting solo killed by a Clockwork.
Well, what do you have to do? Like, he's got Blade Melee. You want to turn your ulti on that? That's not going to happen, but we'll have a quick look at that one. So this is S4. This is just what we missed then. He's looking. Someone has to be somewhere around here. Oh, look at that. Free gold. Free gold on the Panther.
Didn't even have the hook shot initially. Wow, he almost missed that hook shot. That was just barely clipping the side. Arteezy trying to make some nice plays to juke it there, but
it's the style
well
points.
Landed.
You grab it by the tail.
Yeah. Tough game for Arteezy. He's now 0-2. His net worth is just not where you'd expect it to be for an Ancient stacking Luna, and S4's got another hook in 18 seconds.
Man, at this rate, he's going to have his Aghanim Scepter, and then like you won't even care about the cooldown of hook. Prep work for OG on the top lane. It's again, they're putting a lot of farm and space into this Rubik. Because they know he can survive almost anything EG throw at him. Especially when N0tail is just in the neighborhood.
That's N0tail's always there to bail out OG if catch them by surprise or go for another smoke. They do have that. does feel like they can't just sit back and play the farm game. OG have too much map control now. They've got nice vision around this Radiant Ancients. It's hard for Arteezy to go back to stacking this and maintain control. Meanwhile, OG have full control of their side of the map. There is, unless EG go for another big smoke, those dire Ancients are fully in OG's hands.
But how is EG meant to fight when they don't have the items needed to fight? Like, the Aghanim Scepter is the only critical item that EG has managed to gather in. Like, you're running a hand of Midas for Nyx Assassin, maybe he gets an Aghanim Scepter in defense, but you need the Yule Scepter over on the Lashrak. This is kind of critical flesh to get these proper setups, unless you want to rely on Crit, but Crit can't stand the front lines long enough. He doesn't have enough survivability, he's still short the banter on Arteezy.
I think more so than the Yule, even the Universe Blink Dagger, he's going to be the key initiator as the upcoming fights go, where he can blink in, start things off with Impale, set it up for the Lesh not have to go for Yules. If anything, the SI looks like he may be considering a 4-star. And the other big item is Luna's BKB. I want to say this is one of those games where the fights are coming to you soon. If you don't go for a BKB, fighting into the DK stun, the Blinding Light, Rubik, Clockwork, these are all heroes that demand BKB. So we just have to see Luna go for one very, very early on.
Zaya's going to try and snipe out this bottom tower. It's been so long, the fortification's already back up, cooldown, and oh god, the rocket from S4 gave him the perfect vision. The tree line, not to mention the Lashrak walking into that position in front of the tier 1 tower. That was just an easy kill, but forced rotation from OG. They were technically already doing it, however. They took the tier 2 tower and they already started half of the TPs to bot lane.
Something some people may forget about the old alliance days with S4 is he used to play a lot of mid Clockwork. He was one of the few mid players out there who would play this mid, max the battery assault first, and just go around ganking and killing everyone. Similar to how we play like a mid bat right, and he is showcasing his prowess on the Clockwork here again and again. He's still taking out 1500 HP with the Blade Mail and Hood. Killing him when he initiates. It's normally you think Clockwork, he initiates it, he sets up a fight, he dies, and his team clean up. But no, this is a Clockwork. He's getting the kills and surviving because of how well he's done and how farmed he's gotten. He's almost up there with the Luna in farm. Well, no, not quite, but the fact as close as he is with the Luna is still ridiculous in itself.
I'm not for this maneuver that's coming out from Jirax and Fly. Like, so smart. They split their sentry wards, so each of them has one, and with a smoke maneuver, they were hunting the Nyx. Smoke, drop a sentry ward, and then you can easily just blink into telekinesis.
If they look to set for this top lane, they have got the recall coming. S4's now here at the top lane looking for a hook shot.
Well, with Rocket, they see him and Crit caught in the tree line. S4 success rate rather high. And Crit will die to the Clockwork. Even with disruption, it just bought him a little bit of time, but the result was inevitable.
Yeah, there's one player who hasn't needed any waking up. It is still S4, and OG have got a gem now on the Naga side. One of the really nice things you can do, just buy a gem for her. She can then send the illusions out. It's very easy to find the Nyx and shut his game. Universe's ability to roam around the map is pretty much taken out. I mean, it's been taken out this entire game. It's not like it's just happening now with this gem. Even before this, with the Sentry Wards alone, OG were always ready for Universe's Nyx, and that's going to get even more and more difficult. This is where he's almost demanded that he has to get a blink, because he has no way to initiate with all the detection. He's just going to have to initiate the old-fashioned way, which is just blinking with Impale, not use the Vendetta for initiation, but use it maybe for a bit of extra damage. Not a spell you can rely on anymore.
This is a little disgusting. Rubik stole Disruption from the SD, so combining it up with the fresh Mana Style on Nota, they just forced in all the lanes, bring EG back to base. Nota like BT to the bottom lane, then Fly just recalls him straight back into the mid, and OG continued this assault.
Strategically, OG can deal with almost anything EG throws. Because of, often you go for the 5-man push, the answer is to go push a side lane, split push with Sumail, but like you just said, you've got the ways to deal with it. EG's, their biggest and best way back into this game is going to be going for a big fight. Very difficult to do against the sleep, but they've got to find some way to soak up, catch OG by surprise. Arteezy saving up 3.4k gold, and I am looking BKB as the timing you want to make that smoke. Roche is still standing, something that OG don't really want to go for, and they don't take too well. They push just fine without it, and their lineup, if anything, slows down if they waste time to go for Roche, but EG need to find a way to get their lanes pushed out and go for that smoke.
Yep. Difficult. Very, very difficult. Find a way, maybe they can show the ways. Right now, there isn't really a visible one. TZ's banking on a lot of money. The only way they could really do it is if they could defend this OG attack. And Anna, The dragon form, you just jump up onto the hill, the tick begins, with the Naga illusions all out. Every lane being pressured, so EG can't mount like a 5-on-5 defense line.
Yeah, for EG, it's pretty much defend the high ground now, which is not what you want to be in when you're versing a Naga Siren, because that's not defending one lane, that's defending all three.
Maybe now they can fight. Their BKB is on the Luna.
Yeah,
So you kind of have to come out. But the second you try and come out, OG low, they'll see inside your base. Even if it's on the observe board, they'll be an illusion.
OG gets too much map vision is the problem now with the illusions pushing all three lanes. No-Tail's micro is pretty much sit in mid lane, make illusion, send one bottom, send one mid, and his hero never even pushes forward. It's just the illusions.
Okay, this is actually hilarious. So right now, Jirax is making copies of the illusions of Naga that have been sent out by Crit, who made copies of the first copy that Jirax sent into the base. So it's literally copies of copies of copies. There's got to be some level of
Too early in the
degradation
morning.
this.
I had no idea what you just said. Come on, speaking.
Wake up, gods! Wake up!
Oh boy, it's a tough game for EG. That goes without saying. They've got some good AoE heroes in the Mirana, the Leshrac, so they can theoretically push out lanes. The problem is you're always split up. That's where the Clockwork pulls this draft together.
This is
for
the
OG.
opening. This is the opening. It's Arteezy retreating out. Off hook shot over. Remember, Arteezy has that BKB. Is he going to trigger it to try and fight this with the instead? Triggers the BKB, but so late. The Song of the Siren comes out. The Eclipse, the damage is nowhere near enough. It's actually isolated him. He was the only one immune from the Song of the Siren. Now everyone's on the run. At least they want to run, but they're being denied even that privilege. The S caught on the retreat. And OG, they finally got what they wanted. Arteezy just slipped out a little bit too far. The farm up the way. OG pounced.
Tower is under attack.
And EG, it almost looked they weren't sure if they actually wanted to fight that.
Yeah, they decided. I mean, Luna had no buyback.
Oh, Anna, blink, stun, crit, goodbye. 45 seconds on the sideline. Samel jumps in, maybe with a stun, but no Clockwork! It's a huge cock, and they just caught GG well played. It was a slow bleed of the blue. And green is reigning supreme. OG take game one against Evil Geniuses.
Dang, this OG rocked up the place in Dota. That was some really impressive early game rotations from Jerax, turning into S4 take over the mid game with his Clockwork, and then come late game, it's the Naga Siren show. No-Tail, his performance on this hero, one of the most reliable Nagas out there. This guy always finds a way to get his farm, always hits his right item timings, and it's such a classic OG. 4 heroes creating space 1. Normally it's like your Miracle or your Honor, but this time around when No-Tail gets his Naga Siren, they make this pick work.
The scarier thing is, when you say it's 4 heroes creating space for 1, it's not just the normal 4 protect one, which a lot of people think of. Like, the first time this roster of OG was brought together, and you saw the synergy, the instant synergy that started between S4 as well as Jirax. It was scary as hell. They were running like even these combinations of Pudge and Clockwork together. And this kind of thing destroyed almost any team they faced up against. The rotations are so heavy, the offlane so heavily involved. And No-Tail, he's able to be consistent, mainly because every other team is under such heavy pressure that he's able to find that space. But also in this tournament, he's been involved in a hell of a lot. Every time that Luna happens, the thing which Arteezy didn't do, he rotates around with the rest of his team trying to find the kill. OG, they'll just TP the Luna into the fight when it happens on top of the tier 1 tower. It looks like EG didn't read OG's maneuvering at all in this game.
Well, it was the opposite for OG. They knew everything that was coming their way. EG looking a bit stumped there. It doesn't feel like they got outdrafted. It was they got red.
They got outplayed.
Nyx Assassin, every single Vendetta moving around the map. There's a sentry there waiting for him. Those sentry wards are game winning because all it takes is 1 key kill for a Nyx and it's a tower, maybe even 2 towers. If you get that like that Nyx rotation at the bottom tier 1 and tier 2 where he gets caught between that sentry, he doesn't die there, but if you get a kill, you get the tier 1 bottom, you get the tier 2. You snowball out of control off of Nyx kills. There was no Nyx kills. There was Clockwork kills. That's what there was.
Yeah, there was no fear. There was no fear factor at all. And I didn't actually mean that as a pun. But it's the fact that Nyx Assassin, he had no presence. No presence at all. And I'd love to know what EG could have done better. We've got a bunch of people that might have opinions on that. Machine?
That is the question.
I'm fine with waiting and all, but let's go!